Hello there, everyone. Emiliya here from the Flourishing Center, and I'm excited to share today's video blog entry with you. I am so grateful that this past weekend I got to take my bestest friend in the whole wide world to go see Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway here in New York City. And this play, if you have not seen it, this musical is it's beautiful. It has positive psychology themes woven throughout the whole thing. We say that we can define positive psychology and all of its findings at times with just three simple words, which is other people matter. And Dear Evan Hansen and Evan's story speaks to the power of belonging, the need for people to feel connected. And there's just so many positive psychology themes woven throughout the whole thing. So I highly recommend seeing it if you haven't. And I just want to take a moment to share with you just a teeny tiny little glimpse of some positive psychology lessons that I think that the musical offers us to keep in mind as it relates to our own life and also how we work and interact with other people. So I'm not going to be a spoiler by any means for you if you have not seen the musical so that you can see it and enjoy it. But I will let you know that in the beginning, it's well known that Evan is struggling. He's struggling with isolation, with loneliness, with feeling like he doesn't belong. And in the early scenes, there's this palpable moment where he has just gone through his first day of school and he's gone through some obstacles of trying to talk to people and kind of having these like rough encounters. And it leads him to singing a beautiful song called Waving Through a Window. And in this Waving Through a Window song, right beforehand, he's writing himself a letter, and in it, he falls into a very specific bias that we talk about in psychology, which is called the attention bias. The attention bias is our tendency to hold on to evidence that supports the way that we see the world and our tendency to deflect evidence that disproves the way that we see the world. So there in it, he uses words like no one cares about me or nobody sees me. And in that moment, it's an interesting moment for us to watch from a distance because here he is. He's saying, "Nobody sees me. Nobody cares about me. I'm all alone." Where just the scene prior to, you actually saw three different people interact with him, and one person even shared her care. She said, I saw that my brother knocked into you. Are you okay? I'm sorry about that." But what happens is Evan doesn't hold on to that evidence. He is seeing things through a more narrowed lens of, well, nobody cares about me. And I think this is a real important thing for us to keep in mind. It's a very basic psychological principle, which is that we can't believe every single thought that comes out of our mind because we are biased in our thinking and we're likely to hold on to evidence that supports the way we see the world and we're likely to let go of evidence that disproves it. So because he is feeling isolated, he's not holding on to the evidence that's the contrary. He's only holding on to the evidence that says, see, people don't see me, nobody sees me. And so we want to remind ourselves, especially when it comes to the days when we feel more down, to not necessarily trust the words that come out of our mind, knowing that loneliness, that isolation, that frustration and anger, all of these things narrow us even further, and that we have to be really, really good at taking our brain to court and say, what's actually happening? Where is there evidence that no one has noticed me? Because here someone has noticed me. And that can be really hard to do. It's one of the biggest challenges we know about loneliness and isolation is that when people are feeling that state of negative emotion, that positive interventions often tend to work the least for them in those states because of how we're feeling. So we just need a little bit of an extra boost. So whether it be you going through a tough time or someone else that you know is going through a tough time, it's important to know that we can't trust everything that comes out of our mind and that we have to be more judicious. And so I do want to share that inside of the email or inside of the bottom of the video, depending on where you're seeing this, I want to share with you the beautiful performance of Ben Platt singing Waving Through a Window from Dear Evan Hansen. And around like the 4-minute, 20-second mark, you'll hear another positive psychology moment because he's asking the question, if you fall in the middle of the forest and you're by yourself, do you even fall down and do you even make a sound? And in it he says, did I even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? It's like I never made a sound. Will I ever make a sound? And literally I get choked up just like replaying even I'm going to save you not needing to hear me sing it because I sound like a dying cat. Ben Platt does it way better than I can. But it's such a palpable moment, and it's a positive psychology moment put into practice because that's what our mind does. It first asks a question. Did I even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? It's like I never made a sound. We go from asking ourselves a question, will I be able to do this? Do I have what it takes to succeed? I don't have what it takes to succeed. It's like our brain has to answer its own question. And what happens is that curious question, did I even make a sound? That's kind of like a curious philosophical question. If a tree falls in the middle of the forest, would it make sound? But add on our negativity bias, he answers his own question with a judgment. And not only does he answer it with a judgment, he takes it to a future type of question. Will I ever make a sound? And that takes the brain to, I'll never make a sound. I'll never matter. I'll never belong. And this is where we know that the mind can make a mountain out of a molehill or a molehill out of a mountain. It can make a heaven out of a hell or a hell out of heaven. And so I hope that this little video gives you an opportunity to listen to a great song, Waving Through a Window, Dear Evan Hansen, beautiful, beautiful musical, speaks to a lot of what we're facing in today's world where everyone wants to matter, everybody wants to belong. Every person matters, and also gives us an opportunity to reflect upon our own thinking and what happens when a question in our mind leads to us judging ourselves and answering the question, to us worrying about it. So judge your judgments and doubt your doubts. Have a great day.